All right. Hey, YouTube. So, once again, we are Cryptids the Corn podcast. There's normally a third person right here. Nobody's there right now. Emily is out sick. So, we're going to be talking about giant catfish in North America. If this is your first time watching on our YouTube channel, basically we're a podcast that covers the Midwest, Appalachia, anywhere with corn. And we talk about cryptids and the myths and stuff like that around there. So this week's episode is Giant Catfish of North America. Mm-hmm.
A Justin special.
It's a Justin special. And it won the poll.
Oh, gosh.
So it's like, I was so excited when it won the poll.
I bet
it was
you did.
Be the bottom. But yeah, so we're not going to look at you anymore. We just don't.
I'll peek every now and then.
I don't. All right, so now we're going to start the podcast. Ready?
I think so.
And welcome back. I'm the mysterious Justin.
And I'm the fish-friendly Jay.
Oh, gosh. And we, together, plus Emily, who's not here, are Cryptids of the Corn, your guides through the strange and spooky world of the cornfields.
Yes, the cornfields and the mazes and
the mazes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
We should have a maze.
This is a Justin special.
Yes.
This episode won our Facebook poll.
Woohoo!
By a lot. Bat Squatch took second place, and that comes out on Monday. So we just did the top two for this week.
Okay.
Because this one won first place, and then Bat Squatch took second, so it comes out second, even though we recorded it first.
But no one needs to know that.
Yeah, it's okay. We are currently an unedited podcast, so everybody will know.
Yeah, but now they all do.
But this week, we are talking about the giant catfish folklore of North America.
I can't wait.
It's a lot. And there's even been a couple articles on folklore historians about this. That this is just... Well, I guess we'll just get into it.
Well, it gets into popular culture, too. It's there.
Is there anything you want to say before we start?
I enjoy catching catfish.
I love eating them.
I like eating... I'm not a big fan of eating them.
You don't have them right. Soak them in Sprite or soak them in milk.
You're probably right. I probably haven't. I've only had it like once or twice, and I was like, not doing this again.
Yeah, catfish is probably the best meat if it's not from a farm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like farm catfish.
Okay.
It's very bland.
Interesting.
But yeah, it depends on how you want your catfish. If you like them more like a walleye or something, soak them in milk for 24 hours before you cook them. And if you like them more like a whitefish, you soak them in 7-Up for 15 minutes before you cook them.
Odd.
It bleaches them, is what it does.
Gets all that fishy out?
Their flavor out, yeah.
Okay.
Fish should taste like fish.
Yeah.
I hate that. Fish should taste like fish.
Oh, well...
It's not... It's fishy.
Yes,
it's a fish. Good job.
Yeah, it tastes terrible.
But no, it's like, I hate when people are like, it's fishy.
Oh, yeah.
There's like
fish.
I know what you mean. I know what everybody means.
Yeah.
But it's not... It's a fish.
But
what do you expect a fish to taste like?
Let's solve this debate, though. What do you call it, then? Like that taste?
Some people refer to gamey.
Okay, I could see that. But it's not like gamey...
it's actually... It's what people call the mud vein.
Yeah.
It's the dark meat. It's where a lot of their oils are stored. So it's fish oil getting into the meat.
Is that where the band got their name?
I don't know.
Mudvayne?
Maybe.
But
no, it's the oil storage in that red meat on top of the fillet. That's where that comes from.
Ugh, that.
So most people, you can cut that out too. You just cut it off before you cook it.
Okay. I'll just say, when we eat
we've eaten carp.
Yeah.
Carp are notoriously nasty.
Yeah.
But if you take that out, it tastes just like walleye.
Oh, really?
Swear.
I might have to try that sometime.
Because we did it because somebody told us that. And because an old black gentleman would buy our carp from us at the reservoir.
Yeah.
And he told us how to clean them. And then we took one home, and we loved it. He gave us like a couple bucks every time.
Huh. That's pretty interesting. I caught a few carp. We used to go boat fishing in our creek by our house. Caught a carp. We used to feed them to our St. Bernard, and she would just munch the whole thing down, bones and all.
Yeah, they're not bad to eat. In Europe, they're like the game fish.
That's so weird thinking
that's
about
where
it.
they're from.
Right, yeah.
That's why they were brought here.
Species. I did a report on invasive carp in the... Is it Mississippi going up to Chicago or something?
Yeah, I can't tell you about that.
It's bad.
That's what I did. That's one of our surveys.
I should have used you for my... Well, you probably were still in high school when I did that.
All right, so back to giant catfish.
All right.
So the thing is, this is probably, for a long time until recent history, the most popular cryptid in the U.S., or most talked about cryptid.
Okay.
There is not a community in the U.S., according to, oh gosh, I wish I could remember the Folklore website, one of the big Folklore websites, about documentation of folklore.
Mm-hmm.
Anthropology is not the right word, but it's like that for more modern stuff.
Okay.
But it is the most spread folklore in the U.S.
Interesting.
Every
Bigger
community,
than Bigfoot?
every basically white community or non-Native American community has a giant catfish legend.
Interesting.
It was, until recent history, bigger than Bigfoot. And it wasn't more talked about even than Bigfoot. Or it wasn't more publicized than Bigfoot.
Okay.
More people knew about this than more people talk about this than Bigfoot. My uncle said there was divers that dove below X Dam, and there was, a catfish bear in a Volkswagen, and they came up with white hair. That's kind of the baseline.
Good Lord.
And we have a local one.
If we do?
Mm-hmm.
Are you allowed to disclose where?
Yeah. So, Salisbury State Park.
Okay.
And Kenton.
Oh, okay.
Salisbury Lake.
They supposedly have one in there?
So, it's famous. My dad was actually in the lake when they threw a car in. So there's a cliff on the backside of that people have been using for insurance claims. Actually, on my fish finder, I have a screenshot saved of a car.
No way.
Yeah. But there's about 10 cars or 15 cars down there.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember which bank robber it was, but he dumped a car full of money and stuff and guns and stuff down there. And this is in the 50s.
Yeah.
And so divers went back to get the guns. Because he stole the guns from the armory in Kenton.
Oh, wow.
And so the guns were worth more than the amount of money that was down there.
Right, yeah.
The divers went down, and the same story. They said they seen these giant catfish that were so large they came up, and one of the guy's hairs turned white and stuff like that from fear.
Oh, his hair turned white. Holy crap.
And then they would refuse to go back down.
Yeah.
That's the same story everywhere in the country. If there's a dam, everywhere. But, keep in mind, I've caught 95-pound catfish in my life. The biggest catfish I've ever seen, not caught, was in that lake.
Oh, really?
It swam under our boat.
Yeah.
And it was probably about 4.5 feet long, jet black, and didn't care we were there.
Yeah.
I bet you it was probably about 100 pounds.
Let's go catch
it. You won't catch it.
Oh, we can do it.
But fish don't get big being dumb.
I got this treble hook that I can tie to a light post or a lighthouse. Giant with treble hook. Steel cable.
It wasn't a treble hook.
Oh, okay. We'll catch it.
That's a little bit different. I put a whole chicken down there. We should tell that story on here, but it wouldn't get me in trouble. I got to look up at statute limitations and stuff.
True. I know we've hinted at it in much earlier episodes.
It's just a story. It didn't happen.
Right. Jimmy, I think
Jimmy
Woo told me this story.
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah.
Anybody that met us at Salt Fork knows who Jimmy Woo is.
Yeah, he's very famous.
Oh my gosh.
Great stories.
So I do have some really famous stories from back 1902. I have some Mark Twain stuff.
Ooh.
But yeah, and then some more recent stories. I got a lot of stories, and we're just going to kind of go through them, and then we're going to talk about some real life catfish at the end.
Heck yeah.
So we're going to start with my first little blurb. May 1902, a Kentucky newspaper called the Hickman Courier published a front-page story about a farmer's near-death fight with a monster catfish that he had become stuck in the shallows of a creek. So this big catfish got stuck.
Okay.
I know the article's kind of, keep in mind this is 1902, it's written a little different, so I've kind of modernized it a bit, but it's still a little clunky.
Okay.
For reasons made not entirely clear, the farmer thought he had to get it. He had to haul this thing out. So he tried to pull it up, and it fell on top of him.
The catfish did?
Yeah, so he's like trying to pick it up.
And
he fell backwards with it.
Okay.
And then it impaled him with one of its spines. And then this fish is freaking out. He tried to pull it off, and then the fish kind of pulls him into the water.
Yeah.
Because he's still attached to it. He nearly drowned. So this picture spreads. But yeah. And they estimate that catfish to be about 200 pounds.
Good Lord.
And yeah, so that's kind of my first. There's not much to it. It is a newspaper article.
Yeah.
There was a picture of the catfish. The guy did live.
Yeah.
It was like a couple inches from piercing his lung and his heart. I actually know a lady that got impaled by a catfish.
Really?
Yeah, Dad works with her.
Where are there?
Super sweet lady.
Are there fins? Are there barbs on the front? Their front fins?
Yeah. So they're pec fins.
Yeah.
And their dorsal fin.
The one on top.
Yeah. And they're locking barbs.
So they
actually have a little bone they can lock into place so they stay out.
Oh wow. Okay.
And they're serrated as youngsters. And the older they get, the smoother they get because they're not needed as much.
Okay.
But so another one was a photo from from Hardin County, Tennessee, not Hardin County, Ohio, where supposed to be an 800-pound catfish. It was taken in 1914.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about catfish biology later. Don't worry.
Okay, good. 800 pounds.
800 pounds. It is crazy. Do you think that's possible?
Oh yeah.
Catfish?
I bet it's possible. I mean, I don't ever count a catfish out, but it's just because I know what they eat.
Don't count a catfish out.
They'll eat anything, won't they, for the most part?
It depends on the species.
Okay.
There are everything from, and we'll get into it.
They'll eat stinky dog poop
but
smelling
there are
bait.
catfish that eat live. There's catfish that eat dead.
Mm-hmm.
There's tiny catfish that can enter your body, and there's catfish that get the size of small cars.
Right.
So, yeah. Now we're gonna. So, any questions about that? They're both very little. They both have little news articles with them, and they're both from over 100 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, they are. 1908, 1914, or 19. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's old accounts, but
yeah, you'll see. I have one really good modern one.
Okay. So this is kind of an older, a dying legend.
One, yeah, and there's reasons for that.
I bet.
I mean, there's just all big fish in the U.S. are going out the window. Not the big species, fish that can get big.
Big, yeah.
But individuals that are super large are going out the window.
Probably due to us.
Yeah, it is. It's even documented species that get, they don't get as big anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't.
Catch them all. They're hanging
that's one reason.
People's walls.
There's another reason.
Yeah.
And then just environmental pressures. It favors their younger counterparts than the older.
Better, yeah. So
we're going to talk about Mark Twain's.
All right.
Mark Twain, do you remember what's his real name?
Samuel Clemens.
There you go. In 1833's memoir, his Life on the Mississippi. So this is his book he read about his own life.
Okay.
So technically, this book is written as a non-fiction book.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear. He was an avid catfisherman for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But he writes of having seen a 6-foot, 250-pound catfish pulled out of the Mississippi River, which is true. It dwarfed the current world record of a 143-pound blue cat. But yeah, so that's just kind of that only blurb.
That's pretty cool.
That he did talk about it, and then in which was it? Was it Huckleberry Finn that he was with the runaway slave, or was it Tom Sawyer? It was Huckleberry Finn.
That's the same story.
Same series.
Oh, series.
There's two different books.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I think it's Huckleberry Finn when they're going down the Mississippi.
I think so.
The slave named Jim, the ex-slave.
Yeah, I think that's Huck Finn. Isn't that the one that
Great book.
Isn't that the one that was banned, or is they both banned?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I read the book. It was really good. But there's a story about Huck and Jim catching a 200-pound catfish. They used a whole rabbit and a meat hook.
Good Lord.
And yeah, and then they sold it for money to get more down the river.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. So it was in one of his books of seeing a giant catfish, and some people that believe the giant catfish stuff pointed that was just something he'd seen in his life and put it into a book.
Right, yeah.
And that, he did. He wrote about the stuff he'd seen.
Right, yeah.
And, they were fiction stories, but they were...
Inspiration comes from somewhere. Yeah.
So that's just something I want to point out, that a man such as Mark Twain had seen... He said he'd seen a 250-pound catfish. And I've seen the picture of it. and it is, black and white still, whatever.
Yeah.
It is a very large catfish.
Yeah.
But the thing is the scaling in the picture. It's hard to tell how big the wagon it's in is.
Okay.
If it's 6 foot, is it 8 foot, is it 4 foot?
Right, yeah.
I've held 4-foot catfish.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a 4-foot catfish and a 6-foot catfish. It may not sound like a big difference,
but
it is a huge difference.
That's 2 feet. Yeah, that's
a lot of pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I have a story from. This is a little bit of a long one, but it's a really cool one. And this is what I consider my modern story, and it's not very modern.
Okay.
As far as actual dates, but it's within the last 100 years.
Last 100?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, of course.
But that's what I considered more modern.
Modern, right.
It wasn't even that far back. It was 1995 is the year I was born.
Oh, that's very modern, I would say.
This was on a forum page about giant catfish in the U.S.
Okay.
And this is submitted by Colt86 from Dallas, Texas. And I'll tell you, I spent a lot of time in Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas. These stories are everywhere.
Yeah.
But these are people that commonly catch catfish of 80, 90 pounds.
So it's honestly nothing.
Well, they're talking, they're talking big fish, world record breakers. And they're there. They are there. I know they're there. I think these guys that run hoop nets and stuff catch them and they don't even weigh them.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It's because they release them.
Oh, they just let them go?
They're not good for their processing.
Gotcha.
They don't taste good. They're bad fish to eat.
He told you so.
When they're 185 pounds, they are.
Disgusting. Because
when flatheads and blue cats, they want them bigger than 4 pounds and less than 10 pounds.
Okay.
So anything over 10 pounds normally goes back.
Yeah, nice fillet.
That's the fish that tastes the best.
Gotcha.
The older they get more of that red meat, which is the oil.
Ugh.
Which is healthier for you.
But it's that fishy taste. So fishy.
Just turn your mic off.
Yeah. I don't know what you were
Doesn't
doing.
work for the YouTube.
Aha!
So here, I'm just going to read the story verbatim. It's kind of a long story, but we'll go through it piece by piece.
All right.
This is my monster catfish story that occurred in the summer of 1995. It was on Old Lake Dallas Dam near Little Elm, Texas. There were several droughts that summer, back before September 11th, and the new laws that followed, you could walk the dam. So yeah, that did change the 9/11 event.
Oh, okay.
It did change a lot of rules of public access to these areas and stuff like that due to terrorism.
Right.
Blowing up a dam is a good way to destroy a big area.
Allegedly, it allegedly would be a good way.
I mean, well, 2 dams busted last year 2 years ago in Michigan and killed a couple hundred people by where our cabin is. They weren't big lakes.
By natural reasons, the dam's busted.
Oh yeah, they're poor upkeep.
Yes.
There's still lawsuits. But yeah, so Lake Dallas is an old lake. It was built in 1927. This person believes. I didn't look into it. And fed by the Trendy River, which I have been on. It's the last stronghold of alligator gar in North America. It's the best population of them in the world. Me and my father had always went out there to treasure hunt. The old bottles, Indian artifacts, fossils, and anything else interesting when the lake was down. So basically, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. They would go out and, when the lake was really low, explore the bottom of the lake and just see what they could find.
Okay.
Below and above the dam, because this is a severe drought year, so the water's way, way down. So, next part. We went out one day, and it was quite the treasure hunt. We found 1930 soda bottles by the dozen, some still unopened. Old lures, more old anchors than one could carry. Even a 1914 boat motor in surprisingly good condition. We had such a good time, we made plans to come back the following weekend. The next weekend, I couldn't have been more excited to see what we might discover this time. It turned out It turned out that surprised would be an understatement. I had always heard stories of huge flathead catfish and enormous alligator gar in the lake, like anyone who grows up near old lakes in Texas does. My father had retold stories to me. It told of my grandfather, who used to noodle catfish in the Elm Fork of the Trinity River in Denton County. back around the turn of the century. Apparently, one day he'd stuck his arm in a hole and grabbed a fish that he said was at least 200 pounds. It came out of the hole and drug him around for several minutes, nearly drowning him, but finally let go. It permanently disfigured his hand and arm. I, of course, believed him, but as far separated as they might as well have been old ghost stories, as in this stuff just doesn't occur anymore.
Yeah.
Once again, we're not good readers. Back to this summer weekend, we parked near the dam and started walking on top of the dam, looking down for anything interesting. There had apparently been a small rain somewhere because the water had been was up a bit, just short of lapping at the base of the dam. So there was a big puddle at the bottom side of the dam.
Okay.
We had only walked about 2 minutes when I seen what, from my vantage point, about 50 feet high, looked to be a dead human body washed up at the base of the dam. I pointed it out to my father, and we immediately started descending down the dam to get a closer look. It's a large boulder, so it was difficult to traverse, but as we were making our way down, I became aware whatever it was a monochrome gray color and too large to be a human body. We couldn't take the path straight, but we eventually made it to the bottom about 50 yards from the object. As we started walking towards it, I realized it was an enormous dead fish. And as we got up to see, it was actually a flathead catfish. Very common in the area. Very, very common. When I say enormous, I mean this was truly enormous. Multiple times larger than any I or my father had ever seen before. It appeared to have been dead maybe a day or two. There didn't seem to be much damage to it that we could see. No boat prop marks or anything like that. I can only assume that it must have died from old age or something. It did not stink and had not begun to decompose or bloat yet. In my opinion, it probably was only dead a couple hours.
That's what I was just thinking.
They bloat very fast.
Yeah.
They
stink really fast.
Mm-hmm. It's due to their swim bladders.
Okay.
We were truly in shock of the size and decided to measure it the best we could. So this actually has measurements. That's why I picked this story.
Okay.
My father's shoe was a size 11, which is exactly 12 inches long. So we stepped off the width of the mouth, and it was 28 inches wide.
The mouth?
The mouth. The widest point of the head was 2 or 3 inches wider than the mouth, so about 35 inches. And she means 2 or 3 inches, bigger on each side.
Both sides, right.
Because I had to reread that a couple times, because I'm like, that math doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but then I got it. Which I might add is the size of a large saucer. The fish was oriented, fish orientation very stir, so my father stepped off the link, or very straight, stepped off the link. It was just over 8 feet long. But I guess a small, there's a mistype in this.
Okay.
Turtle had eaten off the tail. Oh, so it was missing its tail, is what she's saying. Sorry, this is written, like I said, I'm trying to read it verbatim, but there's a good bit of misspellings. If the fish's tail was in proportion to other flatheads that I have caught, it's estimated to be close to 2 foot longer of what is missing. So a 10 foot long catfish in total.
Yeah, in total. What it should be, potentially.
With the water up and not much to find, we head home. We had plans to return the next day with our camera and a tape measure so we could tell the story exactly so people could believe us. That night we got the first real rain of the summer, and it rose the lake by about 2 foot. So yeah, that's basically it. There's more to this story, but so it washed away.
Okay, that's what happened at the end. How did it get up out of the water to begin with?
So it probably, in my opinion, it went over the dam.
Oh, and landed on the other side.
Yeah. That's very common for fish.
That would kill it.
That's very common for fish.
Okay.
Because on the upper side, there's fish all over the top of the dam.
Right, yeah.
It's a good feeding area.
So it could have just been going after
and then that
fish.
rain could have pushed it over.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it died from that.
Right, the fall. That makes a lot more sense. Because I was thinking it was already down there, and how would it work its way up? I don't think it could have jumped up there.
No, so it was in the dam pool.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it could have got up from the bottom, the river up. That is possible, but I think it went over.
Bro, that's right.
Because most of our dead fish we see under the dams. Me and Nick fished dams in Arkansas and stuff like that. Big giant. These dams are not anything like we have.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's fish. We actually have watched big buffalo and stuff come over.
Really?
Buffalo fish.
Right. Yeah. Not the actual buffalo.
Come over the top, and you're like, whoa.
And they go all the way down.
Yeah. They mostly survive because they're doing it on purpose.
Right. Yeah. Man, that'd be cool to see though.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
It sounds weird.
Well, like a splash.
Then carp kind of roll like they thump down.
Oh, really?
Like me or you would.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it sounds like a big meaty body rolling down
on the dam.
It sounds gross because they're dead.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah,
they don't live through that, do they?
No. So what do you think about that so far?
That's pretty awesome.
That's enormous.
Yeah, 10-foot long.
95. So I actually have a theory on this one. We'll get into if you remind me.
Okay, 1991 catfish theory.
That's much bigger than any flathead.
Yeah.
But it could be a case of misidentification.
What? Perhaps a sturgeon?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely a catfish.
Oh, okay. Catfish mis-ID.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
Because there's an invasive species in Texas.
Of catfish?
Mm-hmm.
That's
reached 14 feet in length.
Oh, jeez. Is it from, like, Thailand or something?
Europe.
Oh, European,
It's the Wales.
The Welsh Catfish?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know
In
what
their
that
native
is.
country of Wales, they don't get big.
Really?
They get big, but not, like, gigantic.
So why gigantic here?
Everywhere out of their range, they get gigantic.
Interesting.
They're crazy fish. I think they are either third or fourth in the world's largest freshwater fish.
Oh, okay.
They're definitely the longest freshwater fish in the world.
Oh, they are?
Mm-hmm. They get a big eel-like tail.
Wait, oh, okay. So even bigger than sturgeons?
So sturgeon are androgynous.
Okay.
So they don't get a count.
Why not?
Androgynous means both.
Species?
Fresh and salt.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So they can live in both?
Most species of sturgeon can. Lakes can't, and shovelnose can't, and I think Pleiades can't. But yeah.
Didn't know that.
But your really big sturgeon are considered androgynous.
Science lesson for the day.
Salt and fresh water.
Okay.
So that's why like a white sturgeon,
yeah,
get 20 foot long.
Right.
They don't count.
Okay.
Because they don't live the whole life in the river.
Well.
They get the size of a great white shark.
Okay. I guess that makes more sense.
They would blow the next contender out of the water by a lot.
So the Welsh Catfish is the most...
Oh, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I thought you just said that.
Oh, yeah. It's the whales. I think that story, they may have seen a whales.
Oh, you mean in this particular story?
Yes. They actually are invasive in Texas.
Oh, that makes sense.
And this may have been I think they got there in the 80s, and they get big fast. So I think they may have been their weight isn't as big as they look.
Okay.
They get very long, and it's very deceiving.
So it could have been bloated.
No, well, I don't. I just think they maybe really did see an 8 foot long catfish.
Right. Yeah.
And they just couldn't wrap their heads around how heavy it was because they knew a 4 foot flathead weighed 100 pounds.
Right. Yeah.
So now this thing's 10 foot long. It's got to be 800 pounds. You know, it looks, but they're not that heavy. They're heavy. Don't get me wrong, but
right. Not it's proportional.
The last half of their body is like an eel tail. It's big, long, flat.
Oh, okay.
They use their whole back end to swim.
Deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But let's talk about real world monster catfish. So like we said, I don't know if we actually said this in the podcast yet or not. Out of the world's 7 largest freshwater fish, do you know why it's considered 7? Why they don't say 5 or 10?
Because 7 is just a nice, lucky number.
Because there's like 7 of them that are really close.
Oh, okay.
So they
make more sense.
Yeah, I think 8 drops off pretty dramatically.
Okay.
So they just say the 7 largest because it's kind of that group.
Just these ones.
That are pretty close. Mm-hmm. They're within probably 150 pounds-ish of max estimated sizes.
That makes sense.
Some of these animals we think are, and we think they can get that big. But we're going to talk about a little bit of the giant catfish of the world, and we're going to talk about catfish biology first.
Ooh.
So that's our 3 big species in North America. And the third has a big drop-off, like we were just talking about.
Okay.
The blue cat, which is the biggest, they are the vacuum cleaners.
They just clean up all the...
They'll eat whatever.
Yep.
I've seen them eat stuff that they can't digest ever.
Dirt devils.
They're just big, dumb vacuum cleaners. But I love them. I don't like eating them.
No, but you need them there.
Yeah, they have a very, very specific environmental role. And then you have flatheads, which are the giant predatory catfish.
Okay.
They will eat stuff like chicken liver and stuff like that. It's more rare.
Yeah.
They love eating live food or freshly dead food.
Okay.
They'll actually crush food, spit it up, and then eat it again.
Really?
They're much more predatory. Their biology, leans more towards a predator. And then you have channel cats, which there's like 150-pound or 100-pound difference between the world records of each of those.
Oh, wow.
Between flatheads and blues being really big, and then channels are, I think the world record's like 40 pounds or something.
Oh, so channels are smaller.
They're very much smaller. But channels are more numerous in the country.
Are they like predatory too, or are they kind of mixed?
They're just the same thing as blue cats.
So vacuums.
Yeah, they'll eat live fish, don't get me wrong. But they won't pass up on nothing.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
That's why they're fun to catch.
We have old photos. My brother caught a catfish once. It was a 32-inch, 18-pound, but I don't know what kind it was.
So the only difference between a blue cat and a channel cat that the average person will see, not all blue cats are blue.
Okay.
They're males when they're spawning they turn blue, but male channels when they're spawning turn blue.
They all have white bellies? Ooh, which one has a white belly?
They all have white bellies. I mean,
Okay.
It's not a determining factor.
Okay.
The only difference is the anal fin, that big fin,
Okay.
is either straight or curved.
Oh, I can't remember.
So channel cats have a curved edge, like a bow.
Yeah.
And then blues have it looks like a scissors cut it. I mean, it's flat.
Must have been a channel cat, I think.
That's more likely.
Yeah.
Blue cats are very rare in Ohio.
Oh, this was in Canada.
Oh, there's no blue cats in Canada.
Okay. Probably channels. But it was aggressive, though.
Yeah, channels are pretty aggressive.
Okay. Because we had this...
They're fun fish.
I'll just tell this quick story. So we caught this big old catfish, super early in the morning, and that was the only fish they caught. That early, they just brought the boat back then, because they never caught a catfish here in this spot before, and it was big. It even jumped out of the water when they were reeling it in. So we just took one of those, what's it called? The stringers?
Mm-hmm.
Like the fabric ones, just a big rope. We took that, wrapped it through its gills, tied it off to the dock, and we just left it there, and we went out fishing again. When we came back, that catfish had just constantly been yanking on that rope backwards. Swim up to the top, and then it would swim backwards, yanking this rope.
Mm-hmm.
It did it so much that what would you call those stringers?
They're nylon.
Nylon, yeah. So that nylon, you know how it's weaved in it? It had pulled so much. It had all come unweaved. It was just 3 strands of nylon left. And, it was getting ready to yank it. To break that cord. If we didn't get there, if we would have left it there another, hour,
So, yeah.
it would have been free.
I caught a catfish one time. And as I was pulling it in, it had a stringer attached to it.
Oh, yeah.
I caught 9 catfish.
It was still attached to the stringer?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
It pulled the stringer off the dock.
No way.
I caught 9 catfish.
And it was...
They were also alive. It just happened within a couple days.
No way.
And a dead trout.
And he's still swimming around taking your bait.
All the catfish were alive. And then the trout was dead. I mean, he was pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fishing story for a lifetime.
Yeah, I kept a stringer. Got a stringer out of it.
That's awesome.
I released all the catfish.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I'm like, hey, you guys...
Even the big one?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, you guys are pretty tough, so here you go.
Yeah, you good.
I only keep a couple catfish when I go out to keep catfish. I don't need 10 of them.
Right, it's true.
So we're going to talk about... So the biology... Catfish have something that's considered... they have a gene... It's undetermined growth rate.
Okay.
Mammals, birds, and maybe some reptiles. Most reptiles probably not. But mammals and birds have determined growth rate. We only grow X speed at X in okay environments. We can slow down. We can't speed up.
Okay.
There are drugs and stuff that help us speed up.
Or if you're Andre the Giant.
Yeah, there are there's genetic conditions that can cause you to speed up. But when you're born, you have X is your growth factors max.
Mm-hmm.
Catfish don't have that.
Okay.
They have undetermined growth rate.
They just go.
They will grow as fast as they eat.
Okay.
And the bigger they get, the more they can digest, the bigger they can get.
Okay.
So their biggest catfish in the Mississippi come from a meat processing plant just under it. Because all the spillage.
Oh, okay. And they're just there mowing down. Yeah.
Mouth open, just sucking up everything.
Right.
But yeah, so there's interesting catfish biology, or fish biology, is that they get as big as the environment will let them.
Okay.
If they have food, they'll get big and big and big and big.
Mm.
So yeah. But we're going to talk about some world records, and I'll give you a blurb about each of these world record types of catfish.
Okay.
These are from all around the world. But the United States, the Flathead Catfish, and this is rod and reel records.
Okay.
So there have been bigger examples of this species, but not caught on rod and reel. But is 123 pounds for the Flathead Catfish, 5 foot long. That's a big one. I've caught 4-footers, but there's a big, like I said, there's a big difference between a 4 foot and 5 foot.
Yeah.
And then that was in '98 in Kansas.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
Is Jeremy Wade on any of these lists?
I don't think he's got any world records.
Okay.
He's caught all of these.
Oh, I'm sure he has.
Yeah, he's caught every one of these. So the next one is the red-tailed catfish, and it's the exact same weight
Really?
as the flathead, but a lot shorter. They're a lot wider.
How short was this one?
4.5 foot.
Okay.
And this was caught in 2010 in the Amazon River. And they get a lot bigger than that. I've seen them in aquariums bigger than that.
Okay.
But that's just, like I said, rod and reel.
Rod and reel catch, yeah.
These are invasive in Florida now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Actually, the Flathead Hunters of North America is a conservation group for flathead catfish. They go fish for them and stuff like that. And they do conservation work too, because they enjoy the sport of flathead. And flatheads are one of the more susceptible catfish species to population change.
Oh, okay.
If you take all the big ones, they'll go away. But they have bounties. This group offers bounties on red-tailed catfish.
Oh, that's awesome. That's sweet.
But yeah, the next one is blue cat, another North American giant. And once again, I already set the world record, but it's 143 pounds and only 4 and a quarter feet.
Okay, so short even, yeah.
Shorter, but these are fat fish.
Yeah.
And it's caught in Virginia.
Thick with 2 C's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, caught in Virginia in 2011, so it's a more recent one. He is still, they were trying to get him, so the cool thing about this one is the guy that caught it was trying to get it to the Bass Pro Aquarium.
Oh, yeah?
They were going to try to put it on display there.
Yeah.
And it died on the way.
Oh, man.
They did put a good effort in to try to get it there alive.
Yeah.
But when you catch these big old fish, they're going to die.
Yeah.
So lactic acid buildup is why fish get tired after they fight. And that's the most lethal thing for like pike and muskie and stuff like that.
I've witnessed that happen.
I've actually held a muskie in the river for like 30 minutes.
To get it?
Yeah.
For it recovered?
Yeah, because it just fought too long. If the fight goes on too long, they'll die. The Goons Catfish. Ooh. And this is a weird one on this list. Because they do get a lot bigger than this. But this is documented. This is what we have. Sorry, I hit something and then the mic shut off. But these are from India and stuff like that. So the world record's 165 pounds and 5 foot, a little over 5 foot long. There have been pictures of the lagoons of up to 500 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
But they are biologically estimated to get up to 450 to 500 pounds.
That's a big goonch.
We have a couple on this list that get way bigger than that.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, Jeremy Wade, this is one of his hardest catches to find one.
They're really?
Critically endangered. But the monsters come from one spot in India where they partially burn dead bodies. They're funeral rites on the side of the river and then push the remains of the river to go back to nature.
Oh my gosh.
And some of these goons are getting humongous eating people.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of creepy a little bit to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it on the Ganges River or whatever?
I don't have it.
I don't know.
The Welsh Catfish. So now we're getting to him on the list.
Yep.
So here's what we're going to talk about. This is the world record. Again, rod and reel.
Right.
There are bigger examples of this fish. But world record is 280 pounds, 9 foot long.
Oh my gosh.
So when we go back to that story from Texas.
Yeah, it's about...
Yeah, 8 foot long.
10 feet.
It's not out of the question. They get 8 foot common.
Yeah.
But maybe only 180 pounds.
And how much was this one again?
280.
Okay, so bigger, but...
Mm-hmm. And that was just caught in 2015.
Oh,
and that was in Italy, where they're not native.
Oh, wow, okay. 2015.
By a guy named Dino.
Oh, what a cool name.
Mm-hmm. I did make it Dino. So the Parariba catfish is another Jeremy Wade special. This is the one you've seen on the internet going around with the mouth that has the boy hanging out of it, the kid hanging out of it.
Oh, really?
The dead kid. And there's an argument whether that picture is right or wrong, if it's real or not. They are known man-eaters.
Okay. I think I've heard of this one before.
Yeah, it's Jeremy Wade special.
Parariba?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Their little cousins are monsters, too. So the world record is 341 pounds and 7 foot.
Oh my gosh, these are like lunkers.
They look very much similar to sharks in build.
Really?
These big shoulders, big heads.
Yeah.
And really strong, sharp fins.
And they'll snatch you up.
These are considered man-eaters. The Parariba is.
Where are these located?
The Amazon.
Amazon, okay.
Brazil and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of these big guys are from the Amazon.
Gosh.
The largest catfish in the world, the Mekong giant catfish.
Okay.
And 3 of the world's largest freshwater fish, actually the 3 top dogs, come from the Mekong River.
The Mekong. And is that South
all
America?
3 probably extinct, or all the big guys are gone.
Okay.
No, Mekong's Asia, China.
Oh, okay.
That's why they're gone.
Mm.
Because it's like a polluted butthole now.
Oh.
It's nasty. The river's nasty.
It's not just a butthole river. It's a polluted butthole river.
Mm-hmm. Kenton. It's Kenton, Ohio. As a river.
Okay.
But the world record rod and reel is 646 pounds. 9 foot long.
What kind of rod and reel are you using? Like deep sea marlin gear?
So these catfish are very special.
Yeah, because they're giants. They're Mekong River giants.
Well, I guess that's my last one of the Mekong. But yeah, so these are vegetarians.
Whoa.
They have giant eyes that are on the bottom of their body, like you can't see them from the top because they're picking stuff off the bottom of the river.
Okay.
They got human-like teeth.
That's weird.
And they have no whiskers.
Okay. Oh,
they're super friendly.
Really?
They're harmless.
I have to see a picture of them just so I can.
So the other 3 contenders. So we went over like I said, the other 3 contenders of the world's largest freshwater fish, truly freshwater fish, it's the freshwater stingray, the giant freshwater stingray.
Okay.
The arapaima.
Yep. I know what that is.
And the giant freshwater carp.
Oh, cool.
And the giant stingray and the giant carp and the giant Mekong giant catfish are all from the Mekong River Delta.
Wow.
And the other parts of Asia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The giant carp is extinct. The last pair, it might not be extinct. The last giant pair was protected by one farmer that had been feeding him rice noodles for like 20 years. And
Really?
It finally disappeared.
Oh, no.
And there's a video, the one estimated was like 680 pounds. And the other one was estimated to be in like 540 pounds. They believed it was a male and female.
I would just love to witness that.
And he'd feed him noodles every day.
Yeah.
And they'd eat out of his hand. They had no teeth or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Jeremy Wade actually put a cutout of there was a remains of one found that was like 850 pounds.
Man.
It was bigger than a Volkswagen Bug.
That's amazing.
So some of these fish are estimated to get up to 750 pounds.
Okay.
That's kind of what we think a lot of the top out on some of these catfish are. Specifically, let's go back. The goonch is one that's kind of the wild card when we talk about these giant catfish of the world. Because there's not a lot known on them. Where they are is hard to research.
Yeah.
They're already endangered due to just habitat loss and pollution.
Well, at least I got a cool name.
And they have giant teeth.
The goonch do?
Like musky teeth.
Well, those are the man-eaters, right?
Those are the ones that have been fed human corpses.
That's okay. Yeah, that's right.
The Parariba.
The Parariba is the one
is
that
the
seeks
man-eater.
human.
And then where do I have my Parariba one? Oh, so they found. They found everything: monkeys, cats, dogs, birds, other catfish, crocodilians, and human remains.
Good lord.
There's nothing a Parariba won't eat.
Right. Except maybe like I don't know.
So, I do all this to illustrate that this is a myth, or not a myth. This is a folklore aspect that has followed mankind forever on every continent, besides Antarctica. Obviously, there's just
that we know of yet.
Yeah, there are saltwater catfish species. I don't think there are any cold water ones. Catfish thrive in these decently warm climates, and I'm not talking. I mean, they're in Canada and stuff like that. Catfish are everything from small venomous ones, like Mad Toms we have here in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Some only get the size of 1 digit or 2 digits on your pinky.
Oh, really?
Like the mountain Mad Tom and stuff like that. That's breeding size.
Oh, okay.
And they're venomous, and it sucks to get stung.
Yeah?
Been stung a lot.
Really? By those specific catfish?
All the Mad Toms. I've been stung by every Mad Tom, I think, in Ohio.
Really? What does it feel like?
Freaking sucks for days.
Like a bee sting?
No.
Worse?
Yeah. Stonecat Mad Tom is the hardest one to get stung by because their spines are really blunt.
And you got it?
Yeah, but I keep in mind what I did.
Right, yeah.
So I had 50 of them in a bucket.
Yeah.
I had to count them.
Yeah.
I had to pick up each one of them and weigh them. So the option to get stung was very high.
Right.
But it burns, and then it goes away, and then it burns, and then it goes away, and then it burns, and then it goes away for a couple days.
Oh, good lord. I wouldn't like that.
If you get it stung on your hand, it'll make your elbow hurt really bad.
Yeah.
Of that arm. It's a venom that causes pain, not destruction.
Okay.
So when we talk about there's necrotic venom. I can't remember all the venom types now.
Yeah.
But there's a couple venom types. This is the one that just causes pain,
So
inflammation.
Yeah.
It's just made to make your day bad,
Right,
but
yeah.
not hurt you. Really, it doesn't do anything to you unless you're allergic. There was one kid in school that our professor's like, these guys are venomous and blah, blah, blah. And he's purposely got stung. He's like, the professor's like, why'd you do that? And then he swelled up like a balloon because he was allergic.
Oh my gosh. So I'm guessing he didn't know.
No.
Oh my gosh. How'd that end?
He went to the ER and everything. I think he was fine, but he changed majors.
I guess that'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Mad Toms are good. Some are really sensitive. So, like, mountain Mad Toms and northern Mad Toms are both endangered in Ohio. I've had Stonecats as pets, Stonecat Mad Toms. They look like mini flatheads.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I've had, oh my gosh, now I'm forgetting.
Can't remember.
Brindled Mad Toms.
Okay.
Those are they're bumblebee colored.
Oh, cool.
They're really good little, they hide in, like, root wads and stuff in nature and leaf piles. They're fun aquarium fish.
That's pretty neat.
They're fun aquarium fish. They get really active and stuff like that when you start feeding them.
Yeah.
Like, they get really personable.
Okay.
I've had all kinds of catfish as pets. Catfish are cool pets.
It seemed like just a cool fish in general. Like
they are the most, probably, and this is opinionated by somebody that was a fish expert for a while. Not anymore, I guess. I'm not paid, so.
Okay.
That's kind of the difference between an amateur and an expert.
A former expert.
But they are one of the most successful freshwater groups in the world today.
Yeah.
Today. They've been around a while, not super ancient, but they've been around a while, and they are on every continent, and they've produced several giants.
Okay.
As we just talked about. And they produced some of the meanest little fish you'll ever see. Like in the Amazon, there's the pararisu, I think is how it's pronounced, the bullet catfish.
Okay.
So they normally only eat corpses, but what they do is they bite a little bullet-sized hole. These are like little bullet-sized, like a couple inch long, white. They look like hot dogs.
Okay.
They look very like hot dogs with fins. Their eyes are super tiny. I can't remember. They might have vestigial eyes. But they bite a little bullet hole, and then they eat animals from the inside out.
They just crawl in.
Yeah, and then they start eating organ meat.
I think I've seen that before.
There's only a couple reports of them eating somebody alive. And it was an old man that was taking a shower, and they think he was just too weak to get back up. And they got in him, and then they ate his guts while he was alive. And then there is the one that's the famous one, which is I can't remember that one's name. It's the one that swam up a guy's genitalia.
Urethra?
Mm-hmm.
Did it eat him?
No, it got stuck.
Oh.
So what they do is they feed off the gills of larger catfish species.
Oh, okay.
So, but how they track them is ammonia output.
Oh, so
they follow ammonia. So they followed his urine stream, and they found the hole,
source,
and they went up, and then it released its spines, and he had to get surgically removed because
oh my
it stuck.
Gosh, what a terrible day!
Mm-hmm.
What a terrible day!
I think that guy almost lost his life over it because it got infected really quick and stuff like that. So what's your questions? You've had to have some. I've talked for about 50 minutes.
I got one big question.
Okay.
Who would win in a fight?
Between a catfish and a catfish?
A catfish and a bowfin.
Depending on the size, that's a big difference. Because bowfin can be swallowed. That's kind of the catfish.
True.
That's kind of the catfish's go-to.
Let's just... Oh, okay.
It's just swallow, prey, whole.
It's like relatively the same size, so
Bowfin every time.
Dang, okay.
They bust swim bladders.
That's right.
That's their whole
true.
go-to.
That's true.
Is they rupture internal organs.
It seems like catfish are pretty smart, though. Like, it just seems like it.
Depends
For
on
a
the
fish.
catfish.
For a fish.
Yeah, they know how to survive, and they have in numbers. They produce a lot of offspring. They have really good parenting, not as much as a bowfin would.
Okay.
But both parents normally
Take
invest heavily into the nest.
You ever been catfish noodling?
Yes, once.
One time? Did you catch one?
Yes.
What's
do it again.
I was gonna ask you, what's it feel like when you?
Catfish have grinding pads, not teeth.
Okay.
Gripping pads, kind of. So, what they do is they bite and they spin, and then it just shreds your arm.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's dumb.
So it hurt.
It's not for me. Yeah.
See, you
and the practice is not good for fish populations because that is targeting nesting fish.
So
you're pulling a parent off the nest, and most of the nest gets eaten after you pull a parent off.
Yeah.
Because it takes two parents to guard a nest.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there's actually there's a lot of fight with it down in like the southern part of the U.S. because it's directly related to big population declines.
Yeah, I could see that definitely because you're like you said, you're targeting the mom and
nesting,
dad, like
the nesting pair.
Yeah, that's not good.
They're only in that hole while they have a nest.
Right. Yeah. Huh. I've never done it.
It's not worth it. It wasn't.
Well, it doesn't look like something that would ever interest me. One, I don't like catfish. Kind of spook me out a little bit, knowing that they're in the water because I know they're poisonous or venomous.
Only mad toms.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I thought every catfish
no,
had
that's a myth.
I see. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
But I do. Do they all have spines and stuff?
Yeah, most species, as far as I can think of, it, North American species.
And it stings you or something.
So you're pushing on a sharp bone, so it's more ripping and poking.
Okay, so it's like a porcupine thing.
Yeah, like a quill almost.
That doesn't come out.
Yeah, and what causes the irritation is there are some bacteria and stuff on the spine for the larger catfish species. We're talking flathead, blue cat, and channel cat.
See,
mad toms have a hollow spine, and they inject venom. They have venom
That's
glands.
a whole different story. See, I thought they all were kind of like that. But, I'm a dumb kid.
No, nobody, I mean, that's what everybody tells everybody.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It'll sting you.
So they always freak me out. Yeah. Like, I ain't touching that fish. It's a catfish.
So I knew a lady that got one stuck in her neck, and she had to go to the hospital. She was on a pontoon removing it from her daughter's hook, and it went...
The fish?
Well, the wave hit the boat, and she's like, I dropped the fish. And her husband's like, mouth open. It's stuck in her neck.
Oh, my gosh.
And so she was like, well, getting ready to pass out, and they got to the ER, got it removed.
Oh, my gosh. Didn't the natives use catfish spines and stuff to make like needles and things like that? Or
I don't know about that. I know they use fish ribs.
Okay.
Catfish needles are kind of bulky and not good for that. I know they use them for fishing spears.
Maybe that's what it was.
Because young catfish spines have backwards facing barbs.
Yeah.
So like I said, the younger the catfish, the messier the barbs.
Okay.
Any questions about or comments about giant catfish in this whole kind of common myth of North America? It's everywhere. It's in every state.
Yeah. I don't know if I got any questions because I believe that they're all there. I would love to see one, but I'd be scared to death it would eat me.
Yeah,
I mean for real.
Catfish. I mean, there's a picture going around right now of about an 80-pound flathead that had swallowed the head and killed a 6-foot lake sturgeon.
Oh, jeez.
It had no chance of ever eating.
But it put its head in its mouth and it wasn't letting
go. And the sturgeon died because it couldn't breathe.
Yeah. Jeez. So they'll eat. They will literally
their eyes
eat anything.
are bigger than their stomachs every time.
Really?
Every time.
Wow. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's just an expression. Not literally, but it's going to try to eat whatever it can get its mouth on. No, these are awesome. I would love to encounter something like this, but
like I said, I think the biggest one I've seen was that one in person. I've held some 90-pounders ish.
Really?
In Arkansas, to nets and stuff like that when we'd go down and run hoop nets with a guy. I've seen that one out of Salisbury. I don't know how big it was. I bet you it was 100 pounds.
I never witnessed anything that big, ever even close.
And they get big. I mean,
I'd love to see a behemoth, one the size of a Volkswagen.
Yeah, in the 1800s, there's all kinds of articles and clippings of 250-pound catfish being sold.
Yeah.
As meat,
Oh, wow.
So it wasn't talked about as it was a monster. It was talked about as like, oh, you know, X has a sale on catfish because somebody brought him a 250-pounder.
Right, yeah. We have a first fish fry tonight or something. It is that first one when they were looking for the guns in that.
Oh, in Salisbury.
Yeah, and I think we get to drop a GoPro down there and see anything.
No, it's too dark. It's
Too
very deep. It's very deep.
Really?
Yeah.
GoPro with a flashlight attached?
I don't think you'd come back up.
What, you think you'd eaten?
Yeah.
Really?
I had my. I actually have a camera for ice fishing that I can drop up to 100 feet.
Yeah.
It has a light on it.
Yeah.
So I don't need the GoPro.
Oh, we should try it sometime.
But I had I had a catfish try to eat that once.
Really?
I've had a burbot try to eat it. I've had a catfish try to eat it, and I've had a sturgeon try to eat it.
Oh, that's awesome. So you got that on film?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. We should drop one down there, only because it's
the only reason I wouldn't do that is because it would get caught.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that I would like to see the vehicles down there. That'd be cool.
But you got a risk of your camera getting caught and stuck on something.
And then I'll dive down there and get it.
I don't think you can.
No, I'd probably get eaten.
Well, I mean, you drowned. It's 100 feet.
Oh, okay, yeah, I couldn't do that.
I think it's 60 foot in Salisbury where those cars are.
60 feet. That's pretty dang deep.
That's a dive.
I think the furthest I've ever gone down was like 20, 25 feet. It's pretty far, but you can do it.
20 feet?
Oh, it's not. Yeah, yeah. My grandma's pool is 12, which is nothing. But there was a.
Data pool 12 is as deep as I've ever been.
Okay, yeah, you can. We went to.
I did do a dive class, so I have been deeper than that, but I had all kinds of stuff.
With you?
Yeah.
We did it. There was. I forget where we were. We went on a cruise ship to Jamaica, but we stopped at these two other places. I just can't remember where the first one was, but we did this little boat tour, and you went down the dive for sand dollars. Then he took us out a little deeper, and he said it was 20, 25 feet. But yeah, you could swim. You could see the bottom. You could swim all the way down there. It was you'd swim down, touch it, and go straight back up because the pressure was
hurts your head.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah. But you take a deep breath. I go down, touch it, and shoot back up. But yeah, you can go.
That's amazing.
I don't know. I'm a terrible swimmer. I can't swim fast. I'm really good at not drowning. Good at that. I've almost drowned once, but that was a different story. Someone standing on my shoulders. Didn't realize I needed air, and they were still on my shoulders. I couldn't get them off. That was scary. But other than that,
any other catfish comments before we go?
Oh no, this is pretty fun. I didn't know they could get that big. I didn't know they had a undetermined growth rate. That's pretty interesting. I could see where all the legends would come from, especially when you're so undisturbed for so long. No one's hunting you or dropping cars in your head.
Yeah, so catfish are pretty good about getting out of the food chain pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like they get 20, 30 pounds pretty quick, and that's hard for most animals to eat.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone pretty much.
Alligators and other catfish and snapping turtles are what you're worried about.
Yeah. We don't got any of those really up here to worry about.
Well, yeah. A lot of these are from the south. And
right,
stuff like that,
yeah.
But, yeah.
But no, that's pretty interesting. Pretty fun stuff.
Did I forget anything I told you to remind me about in the beginning?
No, we already covered it. It was at 95 whales.
Oh, yeah.
Welsh Catfish. Whale.
All right. I have been the fish-loving Justin.
Ooh. And I've been the fish admirer. Did I say that before?
Don't know.
I don't know.
Fish friendly is what you said.
Fish friendly. Okay, I'm a fish admirer now.
Okay.
Jay.
That was like,
yeah.
And together we are Cryptids the Corn. So thank you for joining us on this journey.
We hope we dropped a few kernels of knowledge.
There you go.
On this podcast.
And tune in next Monday for the Bat Squatch episode.
Big reveal.
Yeah, which is another banger.
All right, it is a banger.
All right, everybody. Bye.
I get it in?
Oh, did that not record?
Don't even.
I think it recorded.
Pretty sure it did. If not, we got this one.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that was Giant Catfish North America. A quick synopsis of biological facts and folklore. And we will catch you later with another video, if this ever goes up. Bye.